Right now on Up with KREM, mass testing centers are reopening today in Spokane. Our Tim Pham is live at one of those testing sites right now.
Yeah, that's right. In just about an hour, this testing center will open, but we are talking about mandates first because that's the deadline that is today for state employees. I'll be breaking that down coming up.
Plus, today is the Washington vaccine deadline. Thousands of workers have until the end of the day to show proof of a COVID-19 vaccine or face losing their job.
And the sun has officially been up for about 15 minutes now, but as it crests the mountains, we're talking temps on the rise as we head into the afternoon.
Up with KREM begins now.
Good morning and thank you for joining us on Up with KREM. I'm Channing Curtis. Well, today is the big day. No vaccine means no job for thousands of Washington workers. And with a spike in COVID-19 cases, state leaders are reopening COVID testing sites today in Spokane. So right now we have team coverage all morning long here on Up with KREM. Our Tim Pham is live this morning at one of those testing sites at Spokane Falls Community College. So he'll be telling us all the things that you need to know if you want to go get tested. Nicole Hernandez is following vaccination numbers among our state workers as well as hospital and school staff members. But first up, Jeremy Legoo is in the Outdoor Weather Center. And Jeremy, I understand we're going to have a gorgeous start to the work week, but it's going to start feeling like fall eventually.
Yes, it will. It's looking like fall outside right now. Beautiful colors all over downtown, and it is a gorgeous start to the day. Here we sit on the South Hill just moments away from the sun, cresting the mountains off to the east. And it is beautiful out. 40 degrees though. It's a bit chilly as we kick things off this morning, but that's still above where we should be in terms of temperatures this time of year. Coeur d'Alene, you're about dead on, 36 and sunny there, 32 in Sandpoint and 39 in Moses Lake. We've got sunny skies overhead, and those sunny skies are going to take us through the day. It is fixing to be a gorgeous start of the week. Look at us. Get rid of some of those clouds in the southern panhandle, then it's nothing but sun this afternoon and all the way through the day tomorrow. Tomorrow morning likely starts out a bit chilly, but don't worry, by the afternoon we'll warm back up. And I think that tomorrow morning chill plays a big role in what you wind up feeling tomorrow afternoon. So today winds up being our warmest day of the week. Temperatures in the upper 60s here in Spokane. Comes with nothing but sunshine. Tomorrow, a little bit cooler, but that's because our overnight low drops a little bit more. It gets a little bit more difficult to climb in the afternoon, but enjoy it while you can. A change in the weather arrives on Wednesday.
Thousands of state workers have until midnight to prove that they're fully vaccinated against COVID-19. This morning, Tim Pham is joining us with what's at stake if dozens of police and firefighters lose their jobs in the next 24 hours.
Hey, good morning, Channing. This will have a big impact across our state. I'm live this morning at the new mass testing site here in Spokane County. You can see they're setting up right now, setting out the bins and the cones right now. We'll talk a little bit more about the testing here at Spokane Falls Community College a little bit later in this show. But of course, we do want to talk about our big story of the morning. That, of course, is the vaccine mandate, because come midnight, there could be a lot of people without a job if they did not show proof of their vaccination to the state if they are required to in their job. So right now, what we know is that more than 600,000 state workers fall under the governor's mandate. Now, this can be kind of confusing about who this mandate impacts, so we want to break down who those 600,000 state employees are. Anyone who works in state-run hospitals, nursing homes, assisted living, and family adult homes must be fully vaccinated. The governor's proclamation also covers child care providers, K through 12 schools, and higher education. Firefighters, state EMTs, and paramedics are also covered by the state mandate, along with all state worker agencies such as the Department of Licensing, DSHS, and Washington State Patrol.
Getting the vaccine will be a condition of employment. This will be a condition of employment. And to continue operations and employment, you will be required to come into conformance with this safety requirement. This is a safety requirement of the state of Washington.
Governor Jay Inslee announced the mandate in August, and this comes after a large increase in COVID-19 hospitalizations in the area. So the vaccine verification mandate is stirring up a lot of controversy across the state. There have been a lot of protests at the state capitol, as well as in Seattle and even here in Spokane County, about people who do not stand for the vaccine mandate. But we actually looked into it, and this is not something new for the state or even the country to have requirements for vaccines. So let's break down a little bit of the history about vaccine mandates in the state of Washington and across the country. The Pew Research Center recently released a report breaking down how vaccine mandates are really nothing new in the United States of America. Currently, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices recommends routine vaccinations against 16 diseases from birth through the age of 18 years old. Of the 16 immunizations the CDC recommends for children and teens, 7 vaccines are mandated across all 50 states. So let's break that down. That includes vaccines for diphtheria, tetanus, pertussis, whooping cough, polio, measles, rubella, and the chickenpox. Every state except Iowa also mandates immunizations against mumps. So vaccination mandates in the U.S. actually date to the 19th century, when many cities and states started requiring children to be immunized against smallpox. The Supreme Court upheld vaccine mandates in a landmark decision back in 1905. Meanwhile, back here locally in the city of Spokane Fire Department, they are losing 38 firefighters because of the vaccine mandate. Meanwhile, Spokane Valley firefighters losing 0 personnel. Now, we wanted to know, why is this? Why is there that disparity? How come Spokane Valley is able to make those accommodations? So the city of Spokane telling us that this is due to the volume of exemption requests they've received. City officials tell us there were simply too many accommodations, that they'd have to work with unvaccinated firefighters.
So as we've looked at the totality of the situation, we've looked at considerations for safety of the public, safety of individuals in the stations and that our firefighters are working with closely, as we've looked at cost, as we've looked at availability and volume of testing, and all those different factors combined with the data that showed 25,000 hours lost already to the pandemic, just on quarantine alone, and another 2,300 hours or so lost to actual on-the-job contraction of COVID. All those things taken in totality made it that it was not the right decision to be able to accommodate on the job.
So for Spokane's 38 exempt firefighters, their last shift was actually last night into this morning. So another agency taking a big impact, expected to lose some workers, is the Department of Corrections. So we reached out to the Washington State Department of Corrections to tell us a little bit more about how many employees they're anticipating losing and how many have already shown proof of vaccination. What we know right now, according to DOC officials, is that as of last week, 91% of their employees turned in their vaccination cards. They're expecting more to be turned in before today's deadline. About 3% of DOC employees are being accommodated or are on some type of proactive leave. On Friday, the DOC secretary estimated about 500 employees may be leaving. 2 locations they're keeping a close eye on when it comes to potential impacts is Clallam Bay and the Washington State Penitentiary. Well, this morning we also have Nicole Hernandez continuing our team coverage live this morning on our show to talk a little bit more about Washington State vaccine data. She looked into how many have already turned in their proof, and it turns out it's actually a good majority. So let's check in with Nicole now.
Yeah, good morning, Tim. So right now I am live outside the Spokane VA right now. As of last week, the Spokane VA had one of the lowest vaccination rates in our entire state as for employees being vaccinated. So take a look at this here. As of right now, we know that almost 92% of the 60,000 Washington State employees have been vaccinated or have been approved for an exemption. That means nearly 5,000 had a week to get their vaccines, and now they only have until the end of the day. So the Department of Veterans Affairs here in Spokane reported only 73% of their staff vaccinated. Last week, the Washington State Patrol reported about 90% of their staff was vaccinated. The Department of Corrections is reporting about 93%. The facility, specifically in Airway Heights, reported 90%. We talked to the department last Friday. They said they were expecting more verifications to come in before today's deadline.
People are still turning in cards. Some people are waiting to the last minute to turn those cards in. So we're hopeful with those numbers. I expect more to come in today, over the weekend, and Monday.
Now, the numbers we're seeing are promising. The vast majority of Washington State workers are vaccinated at this point, but coming up here soon, we will be getting an update on the data, what we're looking at as for final percentages after this deadline has passed, as well as an update on what departments are going to be doing with short staffing. Live in Spokane, I'm Nicole Hernandez.
We are less than an hour away now from the testing center opening here at Spokane Falls Community College, and cars are already lining up, and it doesn't open for about another 50 minutes. So we will have much more live team coverage coming up on the CW22 coming up at 8 o'clock. But for now, reporting live in Spokane, I'm Tim Pham. Back to you.
It's time now for your morning rush. More news in less time. The Spokane Police Department is investigating 3 shootings that happened in less than 24 hours over the weekend. One of those shootings was a drive-by near North Fisk Street. Another was a fatal shooting on West Riverside in downtown Spokane. The police department is asking anyone with information to contact Crime Check at 456-2233. 30 years ago, a firestorm ripped through Spokane. Our area had gone without rain for over 40 days during that time, and winds knocked down power lines and sparked dozens of fires. Every firefighting resource in Spokane County was called in to help with Firestorm 91, and we're still seeing the impact of those fires today. But because of them, new policies are now in effect.
After those big fires, the building codes change as well.
The State Mobilization Act for the state of Washington is now in place.
Both fire chiefs we talked to say we are more advanced and organized with our firefighting now. They also agreed that fire conditions have become worse over the last 3 decades. A new survey named Idaho the least safe state when it comes to COVID-19. The survey was done by Wallet Hub, and they ranked Idaho last, meaning worst in the U.S. They ranked Idaho 48th in positive testing rates and 47th in highest hospitalization rates. Results were based on COVID-19 transmissions, positive testing, vaccination rates, hospitalizations, and deaths. The U.S. is now ending travel restrictions for vaccinated visitors starting next month. So starting November 8th, foreign travelers will be allowed to visit the United States, but only with proof of a COVID-19 vaccine and a negative COVID test. According to the White House, this includes visitors flying to the U.S. as well as crossing land borders. Are you having trouble finding all of the items on your grocery list? Well, you can blame it on supply chain problems. Chicken, coffee, and even diapers are on the short supply list. Also tough to find right now, toilet paper, once again. Record level congestion at the nation's busiest ports, along with a shortage of truck drivers and global pandemic-related restrictions, are making the movement of goods very difficult. That's your morning rush. More news in less time. Let us know what's happening in your neighborhood by using the hashtag #UpWithKREM on social media. Courtney Vandersloot becomes the first ever Zag to secure a WNBA championship title. But that isn't the only historic moment from the championship game.